All right, who's out there? Who's ready to talk a little bit about beam type scales? Got Motor 953 in the house. How you doing there, brother? We're gonna get into some uh, scale basics. Ben Smith, we got Sasquatch in the house. How you doing, brother? Can you guys hear me okay? So we're gonna talk a little bit about the beam scales, just the basics, and how to best have them set up. And Marvin, got Marvin. That's a big name. The Reicher. I like that. How you doing, buddy? Everyone, welcome Marvin, new guy. So get a lot of guys, and they get a hold of me, and they struggle with their beam type scales, and so just kind of across the board, I'm going to do a just a basic how-to on your beam type scales. Give you some little tricks that will help you. So as we have everyone coming on board for the next few minutes, I'll be calling your names out. And see, we got, hey, what's up, man? We got Elster in the house. How you doing, buddy? Um, I hope everybody had a really good Christmas, and New Year's is coming up. So this is the last live stream of this year. Except I don't know. I was thinking I might do some 44 Magnum tomorrow. Who would like to see some 44 Magnum or 357 Magnum? I don't know. Just kind of sound off out there. So we have Lenny Lavoy. How you doing, man? We got some new guys popping in here. This is really great. All right. I'm gonna kind of talk here, and I'm gonna draw a really crummy picture for you. We got PWR LLC in the house. Merry Christmas, brother. Jesus is the reason for this season. I'm gonna draw a picture for you, and actually, I'm gonna do something different. It 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 doesn't really pertain to the subject, but it kind of gets you thinking. And what we're talking about is minute movements in your scale. And this will also carry over to a digital. If you're having trouble with your digital, you really need to listen to this, okay? Because the physics is the same. The mechanics is different. One's mechanical, one's electronic. So, but they're still physically the same creatures as far as sensitivity. So I'm going to just tell you this. I was out here reloading last night, and it just kind of in my mind, I was just kind of thinking about this. Uh, okay, we're going to talk about that, Marvin. Marvin's saying I bought a used Reading beam scale off eBay. I have to put a photo. Okay, we'll talk about that. And I have a really good example right here on this bench. When you see it, you kind of get a laugh and say, man, I'm kind of setting this up so we can actually answer Marvin's question. Years back, I graduated from high school in '84, and I was really into four-wheel drives. I had a really big interest in that. And so me and some buddies, we'd go out and we'd be doing this off-roading stuff. And so this one guy, he had this kind of like I did. he had a Ford highboy truck, if you will, and it had the low hanging transfer case. All right. So I'm going to show you a picture that I just drew. Literally, I just drew this standing here, and it's only for illustrations purposes. Okay. So this is the basis of what we need for our picture. So this is our wheel and tire, and this is the base of the frame. And here's our transfer case, and here's a drive line, and here's a drive line. And so what happens is with the low-hanging 205 transfer cases, you drag them in the mud. Well, from the factory, those old highboys, they had, I can't remember if they went to the rear or the front. I own one today. After 25 years, you'd think I'd know this, but there was this bracket. It went from here to up to the cross member of the frame. And what this did is it kept this transfer case from going too far back and forth. Well, so this guy dragging it in the mud, he says, I want to firm mount my my transfer case. He says, I'm just going to weld it solid. I said, you can't do that. You're going to explode your transfer case. He says, no, I can do it. I can remove the factory and I can solid weld it. I said, you can't do it. You're going to explode your transfer case. Can't do it. Well, he goes and he does it, and guess what he does? He throws the gears right out of the back of the transfer case. Why? Everything has to move. Everything has a natural sinusoidal wave, okay? Now, getting into this sinusoidal wave, this kind of does transfer over to our beam type scale. It does. You see this sine wave? If we could take this and bend it around, we would have a circle. Are you with me? All right. Let's take it a step further. Now, this is according to my world. Some people might laugh, say, oh man, this guy's going it too far. But in my opinion, it never hurts to think in depth. It never does. There we go. This red line is your barrel on your rifle. That's the breech. That's the muzzle. Just go with me on this. This is your barrel. When you shoot, when that bullet travels down that barrel, if you could see it with your eye, that barrel is going to be like an antenna on a vehicle. It has to go somewhere. It has to have a natural movement to it, okay? Oops, sorry. Our transfer case had to have a natural movement. If we don't let that transfer case move, something's got to give. Something has to give. Are you with me? Now, back to my next page. So here's our barrel. Here's our sinusoidal wave, our sine wave. We understand that if we could take this and disconnect it and bring it to here, we would have a perfect circle, okay? This is called barrel harmonics. Let's say we have you pick it, whatever barrel length you want. 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, you call it. Well, if your sine wave does this, at the point that barrel ends, if we cut it off and we brought this sine wave back around, we would be short. It's been cut off. We've lost all this. So we would have this ultimately. You didn't have a full sine wave in there. Okay? You're wondering where I'm going with this with your beam type scale. I've studied this for a long time, okay? So accuracy on a barrel comes when your load matches your barrel. Breech, bore, you get the perfect bullet powder combo, and that's when you're going to get your tightest groups out of that barrel, because that barrel's doing this when you pull the trigger. So as the barrel's going up and down, we have a sine wave, and that last one completed it. Are you with me? Now let's go to here. You set your beam type scale, or you set your digital scale. You set it up. You set it up on the first floor of your house, and up on the second floor, all the way across the house, you have kids playing, and they're wrestling, and they're jumping. What do we have? We have vibration. It's the same thing as a sine wave. All right, are you with me? An engineer, when they build a building, they never even design the building until they study the earth. They don't. Everything about your earth is dependent on the structure of that building. Leaning Tower of Pisa, that's a great example. Didn't study the ground. So how do we deal with vibrations? The worst thing you can do is pull your scale out of your box and set it on something. You didn't study what your scale needed. People say, why do you put a piece of glass under your scale? Well, I'll show you. Here's one reason. Now, we're going to answer Marvin's question. I bought a used Reading beam scale off eBay. I have to put a folded piece of paper under the zeroing screw to get it set to 0. Well, on Reading, if you send your scale back to them, I believe it's for in the neighborhood of $10. They'll send it back to you all calibrated, ready to go. Trust me, I've done it. They are awesome. So the reason I use a scale on top of my glass is you see how I have some fluctuation. Technically, if I can get this glass to sit right there, I can run this out with charges. I can go ahead and zero it just perfect, and it will run. You can't do that if this scale is sitting on this. You're going to keep moving the scale, and everywhere you move it, it's going to be different. But your glass is going to buy you some grace to where you don't have to move your scale. The other thing the glass does, I'm going to tell you what the glass doesn't do in a moment. The other thing the glass does is when you are adjusting your beam for different counterweights, it's going to hold 0 longer because of the extreme smoothness and its rigidity and its perfect straightness. Now, if you get glass, get it tempered. This tends to chip, and man, it sliced me open a few times. I've just been lazy. I got to go get some tempered glass, but get some tempered. Let me tell you what this glass doesn't do. It doesn't provide enough that it will cancel out those sine waves. You're saying, okay, sine wave, we got to cancel out the sine waves. I say, well, there's one main one you can't cancel out. It's the sine wave produced by this scale. If you don't believe me, go get an old beam type scale that runs the motor oil, 30 weight, instead of the right here where we have Redding has the magnetic dampener. Some of my old scales, you put the 30 weight in there. Well, you'll really see sine waves with that and how it affects its own movement. So what you need is, before you put your scale on something, you need mass under it. Just like when they build a building, you need massive ground. You need a lot of massive ground. So this is a 2x10, which is really a 8.5 by 1.5 inch thick. But I have an 1.5 inch literal thickness under this. And then what I have is I have 1, 2, 3, 4 brackets underneath and a solid piece of wood that's mounted to the entire bench. So what this is this board, it's hard mounted to the house and the bench has a ton of weight on it. So this cancels out your sine wave. It deadens it, and you need to do that. Especially like sometimes we can have a bench like this, and right on the other side of the wall, talking to one guy yesterday, and he has the stairs going up. That's a tough one. You get people running up and down the stairs. Guess what's on the other side of my wall? Nothing. That's outside. This is okay. I'm going to show you guys this. I'm going to show you this. This is my reloading bench. This is where, other than my Dillons, this is where I do my reloading. And I've put this together very strategically. On the other side of that wall is nothing. All right. So, talking about sine waves and all these vibrations, we're talking minimal movement on your scale, and it expands over here. The slightest over here is magnified over here. And that's why when you have the slightest vibration, think sine waves in your house, it's going to come through. And when you are driving down the road, the thing that whips the most is the end of your antenna. Well, here's the end of your antenna on your scale. So you have to dampen it. So what you need a good solid foundation. The other thing that I personally don't do, you'll see my videos where I have my scale mounted, or my scale sitting down here, not in my real world. In my real world, it's at eye level. I throw my charge here, I weigh it up there, okay? Now let's get some terminology correct. A powder measure measures, your scale weighs. Don't refer to as I use my scale to measure. That's incorrect, okay? We're reloaders and we're very intelligent. So you want to get your scale up eye level, and you need girth under it that will cancel out all those sine waves coming through your entire house, okay? Now, the glass, it gives me more thickness with this. That's what it does, all right? Now, one of the things that the glass can do for you, when you have that scale sitting, you see how this is rough? It's rough. Well, if you have this scale sitting on, I would say our gentleman Marvin that threw out that comment about having to adjust that scale, if he had a piece of glass, you see this screw, when you're on this rough surface and you barely nudge it, you can change it by 2 or 3 tenths and not even know it if you're not paying attention. Well, now on this glass, look what I can do. As long as I keep my finger from hitting this pan. Now, watch this. Saw it right there. That's what glass does. You can't do that on a rough surface. So what the glass buys you is if you bump it, hey, it's okay. Let its little sine wave kind of calm out, all right? Now, we're going to get that back to perfect zero. I went to this glass thing, it's a long time ago. I got tired of always fighting that. And like I tell you guys, I've been studying powder measures and scales for a long time. Now, my digital. I prefer my beam type over my digital. I do. I've had several digitals now, and I've sat for hours and days going back and forth. You can actually have a digital drift and really not know it if you aren't on your game. This, because the way I'm always verifying it, I'll check it. A digital can momentarily drift and come back. Very difficult for a beam to do that, especially on glass. A beam type will drift and come back if you're on a rough spot, because you could nudge it one way and nudge it the back, the rest of the way. You could nudge it one way and it'll go off, nudge it back and it will go back, and you wouldn't know it. But when you have it on a piece of glass, and I'm stressing to you, get tempered glass, you will see that if your scale drifts, you'll catch it. You catch it every time. You can put a digital on glass. I've had my digital on glass before. I've sat there, and then I've watched it sit there and drift off 6 or 7 tenths. And I can sit there and keep working it, and it'll drift right back. And that has to do with temperature, all right? Another thing, on your beam type scale, a draft will kill you. But if you get really good with your scale and you learn it, you'll be able to catch it on the fly, on the go. You'll catch it. The trick to that is you have to have a good powder measure that throws within a tenth. In other words, if I'm throwing 32.0 grains of tack, okay, 32.0, and I know that I could be a tenth up or a tenth down, and all of a sudden I start seeing 32.3, 32.4, I caught it right there. So your powder measure has to be a very consistent powder measure. I could tell you I can make any powder measure accurate. I can dial it in for that 32.0, but will it hold within a tenth high or a tenth low? Okay, so you have a good powder measure, and you have a good powder scale. Your powder scale, if you have a very, very good foundation, you get that piece of glass and you get that powder scale set up, you will be able to watch your scale, the all personality about it. This is the Redding model number 2 beam type scale. I have 2 of these. It's my favorite. It's the best scale you could ever get your hand on. I've ran all of them. I've ran Lyman, Dillon, 2 different RCBSs. I've had 2 different Hornady, all modern. And this right here, I got 2 of these, and I've had 3 of these on my channel. And I also had my father's. It was the same, and he passed away, and every one of them ran the same. But you don't have to go buy a Redding. Don't go do that. Take the one you have, and if you have a very poor foundation, you go buy the best scale you want, ain't gonna work. Okay, so get it set up and get your whatever scale you're using, and all right. Now what we're going to do some exercise basics. I want to say one more thing about the digital. This is why I like the digital. The digital is fantastic for this. All right, I have this powder measure, and okay, just for fun. In and out, and now we'll go way out. Okay. Can you guys tell me what that's going to throw for a charge? No. So if you don't know what that's going to throw for a charge, where do we start there? Okay. In the old days, you did it that way. Okay. What you would do is you would fill the pan, and then you would start working. The large poise up until you got a little liveliness going on, and then you would dial the small poise in until it was 0. Okay. But now, because we have a digital scale, we can go like this. So I think really every reloader needs a digital scale. Okay. Now hang on. Don't go nowhere. I'm uniforming my powder measure because I adjusted the micrometer, as you saw, the metering insert. Now I just threw a charge. We're going to come over here to the Dillon, and we're going to go, oh, okay. So that is 34.3 grains. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and set this up for 34.3. Now, the first thing, this is what you don't do. Okay, watch my hand. Okay. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do this. Rest your hand. Look, I got total control. All right. Look at its natural sine wave. Watch our sine wave over here. Watch. That's your natural sine wave. What happens is when we do this, see the funky sine wave? You don't want that. I can tell you, and I'll do this, if a charge is where I want it without even having that settle at 0. I'll show you. So we have to set this up for, what do we say, 34.3. 34. Now, just so you know, I normally have this powder scale a little more to the right. So, and the light, so you guys can see it, I'm blinded. You guys can see it, I can't. Well, actually, your guys' view isn't much better than mine. The light's really, really bad. There's 34.3, okay? Now, because my powder measure set, I always uniform it. Get in the habit of, if it's been a few minutes, you're going to run 2 or 3 charges, and then you'll run the final. Now, when you put it on there, watch. Okay, be graceful about it. Okay, now watch your sine wave. Okay, all right. I think I need to reweigh this. Hang on. What did we say that it threw? Okay. I got 34.2. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, big difference. Okay, 34.2. So now, oh, see, that's my problem. There. Now, I really can't see, the light's blinding me. So I'm gonna fill my trickler. Before you fill your trickler, make sure you look into it. Make sure you don't have any of the wrong powder in there from the last time you were reloading. Develop a good habit. Okay. Now, I'm going to trickle into this. We're going to bring that up to dead 0. I overshot it by about 3/4 of a tenth. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to dial my micrometer in. I'm going to dial my powder measure into the scale. Every time you make an adjustment on your micrometer, uniform it. Okay, hang on. Okay. I just changed my value just because. Ooh, look at that. Okay. All right. Now, I want you to watch something. I want to talk about that sine wave. This has a natural sine wave. It'll go up and down, and it'll get closer to the zero. And you can tell that it's going to be zero before it even stops. Just as you saw when I put that on there, I knew that it was going to be dead on before it ever rested. So watch the pointer. We knew that was too high. It's too high. Now watch. See how high it went? And now, yeah, you just know that that's not going to work. So what we can do, I'm going to attempt to get this on 0. I'm having to reach around my camcorder, and that's kind of my stumbling problem. Okay, now you see how that's zeroed. Now watch this. I'm going to remove the pan, and I want you to watch the end pointer. You can tell. You can just tell. See, it's got an evenness about it. All right. Why do I tell you that? All right. Sometimes with the scale, I was Skyping with a guy. All right. I want you to wrap your mind around this. Everything on his scale, this pan, it was going like that forever, and this beam was almost going the opposite way. It was like, and I said, okay. I said, do this. Empty the pan, put another pan on there. And he did it. And he had this going on. He had this going on. And this pointer would almost not stop. He had to sit there forever. Full magnetic scale. I said, all right. You need a smoother surface for your scale. You need something. He didn't have glass. It was late at night. He didn't have anything to put it on. So he makeshifted his top, and he got to where he could move he moved his scale to where that went away. Now, do you see this, class? a triangle is the best. This scale has two legs there and this foot screw here. 3 points, like a tripod. If it had 4, you might get this. You would never get it. That's the problem. You need a perfect, this has a bow to it. As long as I go like this, that scale, it settles perfect. So you got to think about that. When you put your pan on there, if you feel like this pointer has its own jive movement from that pan, your foundation isn't where you want it, and you have two sine waves going on, and they're interfering. The way this is sitting right now, it is at what I would refer to a base rest or a base piece. It's at peace. It's solid. Whatever I put on this, it's going to go right to it and it's going to settle out. Think about it. If you struggle getting that to settle out, something's causing that to move. There's something, okay? Now, what that something is has to do with your base, or you have a ill-equipped powder measure. Now, we're going to talk about cleaning. This is a good one. Hang on. I'll show you how to clean this. All right, I'm gonna show you guys how to clean this. Okay, woo-hoo. Rubbing alcohol. Okay, that's your best friend right there. Now, don't get stuff on that. Whatever you do. The knifed edge. Don't clean it against the edge. Do this. Come up on the sides. You see how I'm on the side? The reason you don't want to come straight into the knife is you don't want to leave a little bit of cotton on there, okay? Now, where I'm going to show you this. Where you put this, put it on this something soft, okay? Right here. You use the rubbing alcohol because now we don't have to go back and dry it. Dust in there can mess you up. And don't sit there and go over it and over it and over it. You're going to get cotton buildup, and that's what you don't want. Okay? Now, if you want to clean it up, now's the time. You can, now, if you want to wipe this down or dust it down, you can do that. Okay? That's how you can clean that. Be very, very delicate with it. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a myth. This is a huge myth. When you're out there on social media and you see someone make this remark, it's the most ignorant remark. Oh my gosh. Don't insult someone, but it's ignorant. Ignorant meaning lack of knowledge. Not that they're being ignorant on purpose. It's just people don't think about it and then they just slanderously throw stuff out there. Okay. By the way, you can bend this to your liking. You can bend it. Okay. So if you're I like that about the Redding. If your pan's sitting there cockeyed, bend it, tweak it. It's okay. It won't hurt nothing. Okay, you guys see that? You see what I did to that scale? And it's still at 0 for the most part. That's what the glass does for you. I'm not going to sit here and say that's retting. No, that's what the glass does. Now, if after you have glass, if your scale won't do that, hold that tight of a tolerance, then you might want to consider stepping up to retting. Okay, I'm not here to get anyone to go spend some money on something you don't need. Okay, there. Now, I'm going to a myth. I don't know where my scale weights are. If I knew where my scale, hang on, guys. I have some scale weights here. Well, wait. Wait. I have a pellet here. It's a 22 caliber pellet. My Dylan's saying it weighs 14.5 grains. Let's just see. Okay. That kind of shows you how close that the Dylan is, the Dylan Digital is to this scale. I'm going to make a statement though. The Dylan is saying that it's 14 and a half grains or a half of a tenth off. I could try and move this small poise here back, but I might be still a half a tenth off. So we could say that this scale and the Dylan Digital are a half a tenth off from one another. That's why you don't develop your loads. Let's say you develop your load on this scale. When you come back to the bench, then you'll use this one. For your handgun, bang bang ammo, who cares? On my Dylans, I use my Dylan Digital. I watch the calibration. You know what? I go for it. But when it comes to match grade ammo, when it comes to optics, it's right here. Everything's off of here. Now, so I don't care whether you use digital beam. Whatever you develop your loads on, you're going to return back to that as your standard. So now I'm going to show you this. You'll see where this is the myth. In social media, people will say, well, my scale's not working. It's giving me different readings. I call that erroneous readings. It's different every time. They'll say, well, you're placing the object in the pan, in the wrong position of the pan. Okay, watch this. See where our pellet's at? Now watch. Doesn't matter. Pan position, watch. You go try it. You go try it. You take your scale, you move that pan all over the place. There's our pellet. Now watch. Okay, our pellet's on the other side. Okay, now watch. And I'm going to put the pan all the way back. It's almost falling off the back. Look. Pan position or object of the, okay, pan position or position of the object in the pan has nothing to do with an erroneous reading. Why? because of that point right there. That point stays the same. This scale, it don't care where it's sitting in the pan or where the pan's sitting. The fact of the matter is every time you put a charge onto there, technically, you'll hear me say this on my channel, no two snowflakes are the same, right? That's right. No two snowflakes are the same. You're never going to put that pan on there the same. So if I can take this pan off and on in different positions and it holds zero, it's a myth. When you are on social media and someone says, "Oh yeah, man, you got that powder sitting in the wrong position of the pan," no, no. As far as your digital, I've had guys ask me that, and I just say I don't know because I always set the pan somewhere near the center or the bullseye. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm going to kind of show you some things here. When you are throwing charges, okay, let's say you have, you are going to run 5 different charges. So you have a min charge all the way up to max. So let's just use this as our example. We have a min charge of 14.5 grains. Well, before we did this, we verified 0. So now we're ready to advance this to our next charge weight. So what we do is we empty the pan. The pan is void of anything. And before we advance it, we're going to go back and verify that we're at 0. I did a crummy job because I haven't ate. Last thing I ate was breakfast, and I'm getting hungry. There we go. Okay. So in between charges, you always want to re-verify 0. This question comes up. Guys will call me and they'll say, okay, I was at 0, but after I ran a charge and I checked my 0, I was off. You see how that needle, it's like 3/4 of a tenth high? I wouldn't worry about that. Don't worry about that. This is what you would want to worry about. That you would say, okay, something drifted. On the last charge that you ran for however many cases, let's say you ran 5 cases, all right? We're talking extreme load development. You ran 5 cases and you put it back at 0 and you were that far off, then what I would do, I would empty out those cases. I would re-zero that, do it over to where? Well, now I'm really messing it up. Hang on, guys. You want to be closer to there on your load development. As a recap of what I just said, all right. We have it 0. Now I'll show you. I'm going to throw a charge weight. I'm going to weigh it on my Dillon. Remember, when you're throwing the charge on your powder measure, throw multiples and reuniform it. Get the ghosts out. Don't have ghosts, or get rid of those. Okay, 32.7. So we're going to say, as our example, that's the charge we're running. Now there we go. Dead on. 32.7. So now you're going to charge 5 cases based off that. Okay? Now, hold that thought. If you're going to sit here and you're going to do 100 cases, you're going to want to verify that you want to check your zero periodically. Okay? So now back to our example, you're going to charge 5 cases, and now we have to increment up to our next charge weight. Before you do that, you want to verify that it's still at 0. And as you see, we are. Okay? I can't, okay, I'm looking at the comments. Is this helpful? I don't want to waste anyone's time, but I want to help people. Look, I don't care what scale you have, just so it works. Okay? So is this helpful? Oh, how thick is my glass? No, it's about a 1/2 inch. I do suggest 1/2 inch at least, and you can go to any glass store and get tempered, okay? Get tempered glass, only way to go. Okay, good, very helpful. That's what, if we helped one, we did our job. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys something. Now, okay, Vince Smith, very, very good, thank you. All right, now what I'm going to do, we're going to set this back to, what was it? 32.7. Good, thank you, Andy. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. Okay, so let's see. I set that for 32.7. Remember, run multiples on your powder measure. Every time I go to do that, you hear me cycling my powder measure. You have to keep your powder cycled, because your powder, it kind of hardens. It kind of solidifies. Okay. Pretty doggone close. Now, I'm going to sit here. There we go. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to throw charges. This is the Redding model BR30. BR means bench rest, and 30, what does 30 mean? 30 means on this powder measure, the closer to 30 I am, the more consistently it's going to throw, okay? So I'm going to throw a series of these to let you get an idea, okay, of how this powder measure works, how consistently it throws. I want you to try, now watch that end pointer, and I'm going to try, and okay, I'm about a 10th low there. I'm going to try and see if you guys can identify how close it is before that needle actually stops. Learn your scale. Tenth low. Tenth low. So I could sit here now, and I'm going to try something. Okay. That's 0. We'll just keep going. So you see that this powder measure is throwing tack at about 1/10. Okay. Now, with the tack, it doesn't matter. I could be somewhere around 10. I can be somewhere maxed out around 50, and the tack powder, it meters the same no matter where I have this. Okay. Now I'm going to show you guys something. Okay. This is I want you to pay attention to this. I want you to use your head now. Okay. Do you see how, in a way, almost every other time it's high or low? Okay, that's 0. Now watch the next one. Watch the next one. It's low. One's high, one's low. All right, I want you to think about this. We have this set for 32.7. Hang on. I can't see that for the life of me. I can't find my magnifying glass. Okay, 32.7 times 2, that will give me 65.4. 50, 60, okay, 50, 55, 60, 65, 4. Okay, I think that's correct. I can't see that scale. Oh, there's my my wife brought me my magnifying glass. Woo! Oh my gosh, let's see what we got. Oh, look at that. There's 65.4. Okay, so I think that times 2 is 65.4. Now, do you hear what I'm doing? Before I throw the charges, I'll uniform. Now watch this. Now I'm in a cycle 2 times per charge. Think about it. If one is high and one is low, okay, where have I messed up, guys? All right, hang on. You know what? Somewhere I fouled it up, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm going to 0 it to this double charge. There. Okay. Now, watch. Okay, listen to my powder measure. Now, I run several. And I'm dumping that back into the hopper. And now I'm going to throw 2 charges. I'm going to shoot something. You're going to see it right here, folks. When I'm done, I'm going to check 0 on the scale. But for my illustration, I don't need to check the 0. We just need to... Okay, now watch. I'm going to run 2. Where would this be handy? Well, it wouldn't be handy in a live stream. Something is cattywampus. Let's check our 0. Look at that. Something was cattywampus on my scale. So hang on. I do not give up. We're not going to give up. Okay, I'm going to throw 2 charges. Let's see what the Dillon calls it out to be. $65.4. Now that is exactly where I put it. Okay. Man, now I can see it good. Okay, 65.4. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, something's off. All right, well, scratch that, guys. Okay. So what I'm trying to show you is you can take your... If you have a powder measure and let's say it doesn't run tight within 1/10, let's say it's running sloppy, or maybe you have a really good powder measure, but you're running an extruded powder and you're showing 3/10 high, 3/10 low, well, drop the charge in the powder measure to half that, cycle twice for the throw, and weigh that on your scale. How's that? Okay. All right. Okay, man. That's it. That's all this cowboy has, and that's what I wanted to cover. Not everything's going to be perfect in a live stream, but I think that was hopefully it will help someone that's kind of struggling with their scale. Who do we have out there? We got 21 on. We lost 3. That's all right. They're probably going to have dinner or something, or they don't like me. You guys like me. That's all that counts. I'm cleaning my mess up. Any questions? Any questions kind of related to, or what you got? What you got for questions? I want everybody, you're welcome, Marvin. Thank you very much. I'm going to put this Giveaways are going to start on the forum pretty doggone quick. And to win, you have to be a member right there at 76highboy.com. The companies are being incredibly awesome. And so guys, I've got the giveaways. And the companies are going to send it direct. I'm not going to send it. All we do, we submit the names to you guys, names and address of you guys to the companies, and they send it out. So, all right, I'm going to kind of let you guys see what's going on in my world. Is that awesome or what? I can look right here. I can see everyone's names. So, all right. I want everybody to type. I want you to tell me what your next equipment purchase is going to be, your next reloading equipment. What's it going to be? While we're doing that, I'm gonna get a different tripod set up, and I'll just stand right here and read them off. Kind of get you guys to see a little more of the bench. And yeah, Ben Smith is saying the forum is great for those who haven't joined up. I think that the forum is starting to get a little energy. We're starting to get people joining, and those that are members are staying busy on it. Okay, MP. Oh, okay. Wow, there they come. Tim Pace. Oh, the Neil Ease. I want that totally. Andy 79Z28. I bought everything, just waiting for it to ship. Yes, and you got to share it on the forum. I'm waiting for that. And Marvin says a Redding flash hole deburring tool. Oh man, absolutely. MP McGunther, a Dillon electronic scale. I like my Dillon, I really do. Oh, Chuck Best, another inline fab base plate. Little inline fabrication there. Okay, bear with me. I'm swapping. See, I'm swapping. Hey, this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool. I got the. Maybe we'll just do this. All right. Yes, you can ask a quick off-topic reloading question. Shoot, go for it. I'll let you guys check it out while we're waiting for his question. Ooh, Lenny Lavoie, Dillon 750 or 1050, very nice. Shooter Texan mold for my 32, nice. Dude, okay, Marvin is asking, did you use a small or universal flash hole deburring tool for 223? Use a small. Use the small. Okay. You guys want to see what I've been up to? Who wants? Okay, I don't want to bore anyone. You want to see what I've been up to in my shop? And I'll take you for a grand tour as far as my cable will let me go. I got to have 3 yeses. If I don't get 3 yeses, I don't give you the grand tour of what I've been doing in my shop. If I get 3 yeses and no Andy, nothing's hitting the ground. You're welcome, Marvin. Yes. By the way, the PP tool is very nice. Oh, Ben Smith got the Precision Prep Tool by Little Crow Gunworks. It is awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and do a Miss Highboy. Oh, 3 S's. Oh, I better get going. Okay, so I'm going to show you. I don't have any way to see what I'm doing because I'm away from my monitor. But you guys know that I've always had my bullets on my bench. And right here, it was all Oregon Trail. And then you would come down further and there would be the Sierra. And then we go further and there would be the Hornady. And it just drove me nuts. And I'll tell you why. It's like when you go on to buy bullets, it's nice when they have them, it's just nice when you have all the 9s, right? All the 9s. And then we go into 38 caliber, 38 caliber, 38 special, 357 mag, That's for reloader dude. Stop. Okay. So that's the 38 caliber. That's my coffee brewer. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You want a coffee brewer like that? Go to eBay, put commercial coffee brewer. You got it. Okay, hang on. Okay, so got the quick changes for the Dillon 650 and 750. And then there's more 38 cal right there. And then 10 mil. Okay, I'm going to tell you what started this today. So you guys know that Walmart is doing away with handgun, and the scary assault rifles, Well, we got 2 Walmarts in our area, and they sell components. Well, they had about, I figured it up, 54% off on their handgun bullets and their scary rifle bullets. So Miss Highboy, she blessed me. We got, how much was it? 2,700 bullets, and mostly Hornady, some Sierra. So I just had to organize it. It's driving me nuts. So there's my 41 right there, and then there's the 44 caliber right there. Man, look at all. And then we go to the Hornady, and then there's the Spear. All those Spears are 44 caliber, 44 special. You want a good 44 special load, we got to do this. This 44 special, this is the 200 grain gold dot bullet by Spear. You want a really good bullet, that's your bullet. Get those. Get your Spear load data manual, load you some of them up. That's an awesome bullet. And then I got my